Welcome back. In our last session, we saw how Yahweh initiated the conversation with Abram when he was 75 years old, calling him from the land of Ur, a land of idolatry, and how Abram, by faith, believed in Yahweh and followed his command. We also saw that Yahweh promised Abram to make him into a great nation. Then approximately 10 years later, when Abram was worrying about the promise being fulfilled, Yahweh initiated another conversation with him, assuring him that Yahweh would indeed make of him a great nation with many descendants. We saw that that Abram, again, believed Yahweh, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. Sadly, Abram would soon after give in to the wisdom of man and would follow, if you would, the pattern of Adam, yielding to the words of his wife and not heeding the word of God. We pick up the account in Genesis chapter 16, beginning of verse 1. Now Sarai, Avram's wife, had borne him no children, and she had an Egyptian maidservant whose name was Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram, "See now, Yahweh has restrained me from bearing children. Please, go into my maid. Perhaps I shall obtain children by her." And Abram heeded the voice of Sarai. Then Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan. So he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress became despised in her eyes. Then Sarai said to Abram, "My wrong be upon you. I gave my maid into your embrace, and when she saw that she conceived, I became despised in her eyes. Yahweh judge between you and me." So Abram said to Sarai, "Indeed, your maid is in your hand. Do to her as you please." And when Sarai dealt harshly with her, she, that is Hagar, fled from her presence. Now the angel of Yahweh found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, by the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, "Hagar, Sarai's maid, where have you come from, and where are you going?" And she said, "I am fleeing from the presence of my mistress Sarai." The angel of Yahweh said to her, "Return to your mistress, and submit yourself under her hand." Then the angel of Yahweh said to her, "I will multiply your descendants exceedingly, so that they shall not be counted for multitude. And the angel of Yahweh said to her, "Behold, you are with child, and you shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahweh has heard your affliction. He shall be a wild man. His hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren." Then she called the name of Yahweh, who spoke to her, "You are the God who sees." For she said, "Have I also here seen him who sees me?" Therefore the well was called Be'er Lahai Roi. Observe, it is between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram named his son, who Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram. Note that Abram does not go to Yahweh for clarification. Rather, he heeded the voice of Sarai instead. What would ensue based upon this decision to not seek Yahweh's counsel, but rather to heed the erroneous counsel of his wife, would ultimately bring consequences that we see even today. For in 610 AD, Muhammad declared that what had been held as true for approximately 2,000 years was not true, and that Isaac, who would be born of Sarah later, was not the child of promise, as Yahweh declared in his word, but that Ishmael should have been. Indeed, Islam is based upon Ishmael being the child of promise and not Isaac. We then see that after she conceives, Hagar becomes pridefully insubordinate to Sarai. And in response, Sarai dealt harshly with her. Hagar subsequently flees from Sarai. At this point, we again witness the grace of God. Yahweh again initiates the conversation with man, even when man isn't looking for him. He comes to Hagar in the form of the angel of Yahweh. We know that the angel of Yahweh is Yahweh himself, because he declares in verse 10, then the angel of Yahweh said to her, I will multiply your descendants exceedingly. An angel by himself wouldn't be able to make that promise. Rather, this was God incarnate, pre-incarnate, if you would, in the flesh. Yahweh was coming into a form in which man could relate to him. He would do that once again in the days when Jesus would become incarnate. Yahweh initiates this conversation then with Hagar. It encourages Hagar, commands Hagar to return to her mistress, to submit to her hand. And amazingly, what we see is that Hagar heeds the voice of Yahweh. She does that which she is asked to do. I am mindful in this account, in this grace of God, of the account of Jesus witnessing to the Samaritan woman at the well, recorded in John chapter 4. I don't have time to go into it in this video. You can read about it later. But how awesome it is that Yahweh sees our situations. He knows our situations, and he loves us in spite of our situations. In spite of our sinfulness, he still wants and initiates this relationship with us. Oh, child of God, please, I exhort you, relish the opportunities that you have to spend in the presence of this God of the universe, Yahweh, the one who is, the great I am, the uncaused cause, who initiates this time of fellowship with us because he desires to have it. God cares about you. Take time today to be still, to listen for his voice, to enjoy the fellowship with him, and have a blessed day.